So now, in case you think we're making much to do about nothing about these people on CNN, here is Dr. Drew. Now, I don't have the video of this, but I do have audio of Dr. Drew, which I found on the YouTubes. And it's a series and system of tubes. And so listen to Dr. Drew. This is what he says is going to happen to you if you smoke pot. It's the same every time, according to Dr. Drew. Listen.
And the addictive process is always the same with cannabis. It's somebody who uses just a couple times and then has this, oh my God experience, this is the greatest thing ever, and then preoccupies and uses every day thereafter. Somewhere out there, months or years later, it stops working so well, they start getting irritable, paranoid, not so high anymore. They use a lot more to try to bring the high back, and that's when they get into very serious trouble with the drug and switch to something else, like what worries me is bath salts. Tonight was a really interesting night. Please take note about the bath salts.
Oh, you know, it's like, hey, I'd like to get a little buzzed and eat a brownie, or I'm out of pot. Honey, get the bath salts. I want to eat your face.
I'm really hungry.
It's either or. It's either or, and that's why Dr. Drew was the greatest doctor ever.
You know, I like Dr. Drew, so I'm going to attribute that, I hope, to one of those moments where, like, no, you get on live TV and you start talking, you don't really know what you're talking about. You eventually say something really stupid.
He said a lot of stupid things. Okay, I'll give you a pass on this because, you know, like a lot of people we make fun of on this show, they're nice people in real life.
Yeah, no,
but
I got it.
Publicly, they happen to say and do stupid things that are actually injurious, like Dr. Drew just did, and he reveals himself to be a piece of shit.
So let's leave out the bath salts part, which we can't, because that's insane. But even the first part, he's like, the addictive process is always the same. You start doing it, then you try and get a better high, and you can't because you've been doing it so much, you're doing it every day, and then after a few years, you turn to harder drugs. Like, I know 78 people that hasn't happened to.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't know anybody all the people who I know have smoked pot, they've never gone to bath salts.
Never
ever gone.
And they're not addicted in the sense that there are days that they don't smoke pot.
Right.
Some days they might smoke it 3 days a week. Some might smoke it 7. Some smoke it every 2 weeks. But they've managed to fight the urge to go to bath salts.
And the idea that marijuana, like I said in my joke, is that it wears off. Like that has it has this safety valve that if you smoke too much of it, it starts to wear off. So you can't really get that addicted to it, right? And so then you have to take a break for a while. What he says is going to happen is then you're going to jump to bath salts, which you don't even go to the step. You don't go crack, heroin, then bath salt. You just go right
to bath salts. Yeah. Jesus, try some fucking meth.
But I started with alcohol when I was a kid. That was the first drug I did, was alcohol, then nicotine. And how come those things, when they wear off, I didn't go to bath salts or heroin or crack or meth? Because those things don't wear off. Yeah. Alcohol doesn't wear off.
Here's what's never been proven, never can be proven, is that you don't become addicted to bath salts or heroin because you were doing marijuana. Right. I mean, you might get addicted. I mean, if you want to make an argument to me that cocaine is a gateway drug to meth or heroin, I could probably be persuaded of that. I don't know. I'd want to see those numbers too. Right. But that's what happens. People who get addicted to bath salts were doing cocaine. There's like 40 other things happened before they weren't like, oh man, I feel good. It wore off. Let's do some bath salts.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm willing to do marijuana and bath salts.
Right. And then I'm going to take off my clothes and run down the frickin' interstate.
Yes.
It's just made up, just like the 1 in 6, the first guy, with the 1 in 6 people get addicted. And you just want Pierce Morgan, somebody there to be like, really?
That's like saying, you don't want to have any public displays of affection, because I know a guy who started kissing his girlfriend one time. Next thing you know, he's butt fucking her on Main Street. I don't know what that joke was, but
go on though.
But that was a little Rick. It was a little Rick Santorum there.
It was getting going. Yeah. It was getting going. Yeah. We can cut it out if we have to. All right, that's enough.
By the way, real quick though, do 1 in 6 people who drink alcohol is more addictive to marijuana, right? Do 1 in 6 people who have a drink get addicted to alcohol?
No, that's a bullshit statistic.
Crazy. Right, it's crazy. I mean, Patrick Kennedy's was so obviously dismissive. He's just twisting a stat around.
Yes.
He's manipulating stats.
Right.
1 in 6. That's just made up.
Yeah.
That can't be true.
Well, first of all, I defy you to show me a marijuana addict.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think that's impossible to be an actual. You can become mentally dependent on it, but you can become mentally dependent on cookies. You can become mentally dependent on Hershey's Kisses or ice cream. It doesn't matter, or porno, right? So I don't know.
Why are you looking at me?
These are true. These aren't like if you stop smoking marijuana, you're not going to start freaking out and start throwing up and shitting your
I
pants.
get turned on by real girls too.
I'm just saying there is no such thing. I had a friend who said, no, I had a hard time quitting marijuana when I was addicted. And I was like, really, what happened? He said, well, my psychiatrist said that if it wasn't for marijuana, I probably would have killed myself because I was depressed. Well, you weren't. And he goes, I would try to quit marijuana, but then at the end of the day, I would go, I gotta have some because my depression would kick back in. That's because you were depressed. That wasn't because you were addicted to marijuana. If you were taking Prozac and all of a sudden you tried to go wild Prozac for a whole day and you felt depressed again, it wasn't because you were addicted to Prozac. How much more can I explain this?
I had sex with a regular girl like 3 months ago.
Jimmy likes weed, folks. I don't know if we've